My grandson recently went to Mexico. He was telling me about this magic act he saw that he said was just incredible. And so this Mexican magician got up and said, "I'm going to make myself disappear." And he went, "Uno, dos," and then he was gone. He disappeared without a trace. Bada boom. Anyway, sorry that this video is on the late side. I've been tied up with some things lately, mostly running in and out of hospitals. But anyway, on to class business. The first piece of class business is PowerPoint will let me amnesty. What amnesty is for those of you who have late things to submit, you didn't, or you didn't do well. What happens is I take 10 points off, but let me just tell you, 0 does hell to your grade. And so you've got until the 21st to go ahead and turn that in, which is next Tuesday, because I need time to grade it before I get your final projects on, I believe it's Friday. Roman Haas. Roman Haas is a really good case because it's similar to the final project. And I'll talk about some of the details of Roman Haas and why you can use it. As far as this final project goes, I was going to assign teams, but so many people have dropped out of the class. And there really are only like 4 teams now, so I decided to let you pick your own project. In the past, I wouldn't do that because I had these air management majors, and so I have like 10 teams picking United Airlines. But you can pick your own company from the companies listed. Keep in mind, this is a paper. If you treat this as a Q&A, I will ding you very badly on the grade, meaning you're going to lose 20 points right off the top, even with me not grading anything. So pay attention because people don't always look at the instructions. For example, your last assignment, at the very top it says, be explicit. And it asks you to tell me what's differentiation and relevance and everything else. And instead you just like wrote this paragraph. You didn't tell me what differentiation is, what relevance is. This is what explicit means. And so when you read the instructions, keep in mind, you're writing this paper to the CEO of the company. And this is your opportunity to show me what you've learned in this course. Basically, what are you going to do? You're going to say, this is the background. This is the landscape of what's going on with your business. These are the problems that you're having. And here's our solution. Just in the beginning, because it's an introduction, a general idea of how you're going to go fix it. And then what you're going to do is each of you is going to split it up. Like one person will take price, one person might take product or whatever, and then write up a solution. What I'm looking for is how well you integrate everything together, even though you have different writers. Make sure you write about the right thing. I had one person who had product, and they were sitting there writing about price. And then I had another person who was talking about distribution when they were supposed to be talking about product. And so that's where your individual grade gets you into trouble. And also cap it off with the one paragraph conclusion. Essentially, it's a paper. You should remind everybody what it is that they're reading. Now, in distribution, there's actually only a couple of slides that summarize the entire lecture. And what is distribution about? And this is what conceptual thinking is about. All you need to do is remember a few ideas and everything trickles out of it. And distribution is very important because it's about how do I touch the customer? And the conduit of how I touch a customer is a channel. So I have to choose what channels, and I can have more than one. How am I going to measure how good this channel is? Why am I picking this channel? And so it revolves around the 3 pillars: financial, sales and marketing, and strategic. What are my options? And there are verticals and horizontals. And horizontals are basically the same thing. You could think of it as verticals as being steps. Also, what are the things I need to consider when I pick a channel? Logistics versus information. That's the foundation of a channel. And that's it. Who controls the information? Who controls the communication? For example, if I sell things through Walmart, Walmart controls all that, not me. Walmart doesn't have time to refer everybody to every manufacturer of every product that they sell. Also, maybe it's about logistics. Like if I'm selling paper plates or something, I'm moving a lot of paper plates. So I have to make sure all the logistics are in place to move all this stuff. As we see from the Russian-Ukrainian war, logistics is a very big deal. Logistics makes you or breaks you. This is where General Patton came under a lot of criticism because he tended to outrun his logistics, and therefore he couldn't be supplied, and that's a big problem. Also, how do you treat manufacturers versus distributors? Who's going to own most of the chain? And also, do I want to exercise power or do I want to have control? And so each of these we do through a vertical and a horizontal. We also have to balance with all these pieces in distribution. You have to manage conflict. And so it's either about segmenting things or making it quality. And how I manage is about power and control. And so richness and rich, for example, I talked about. What kind of experience do you want? Does it need to be rich, like I'm sitting behind you talking to you one-on-one? Or can I get away with having it be digital? Do I do it directly or do I do it through other parties? What happens when my horizontals, two people on the same level, start fighting? And finally, what do I do when I have that gray area where people are knocking me off? These are basically the issues that you need to look at. In terms of pricing, a lot of you did not do well on the price question. And the reason why is, okay, you're setting a price level, but what are you going to do with that money? That's something you have to think about when you set a price. Oh, we're going to keep it all as profit. Well, are you or should you? For example, for those of you who said, I want to raise the price to like $5 a packet. Well, why $5? And this is where you need to justify it. This is where I want to see analysis. And you actually had the data, and that data came from question 1. Because you know, look, it's going to save you this amount of money per year, but how much does it cost? That's their surplus. So maybe if I raise the price, that's going to take away from their surplus, how much money they're making. But as long as it's not significant or doesn't reach their pain level, that's fine. But what am I going to do with all the extra this? And one thing that none of you talked about is you kept talking about distributors. But again, think about what it is that you're doing. Distributors, what's their incentive to sell your product? And this is why you think, oh, we're getting into Costco, we've made it. And it's like, no, the point is that Costco is not going to push your product. So how are you going to deal with that? And so when you have a value surplus, what do you want to do with it? Do you want to induce the customer, or does you want to contribute to your margin? And inducing the customers, maybe you kick some of that money back to the distributors, incentivize them so that they will push your product over other products. And so a lot of the answers were given to you in the lecture, but you need to understand how to apply the information. So if we go through Roman Haas, and this is an old case, but I really like it because it really gets into the heart of the things you have to think about when you do distribution. And not only that, but what we also see is it touches on the other parts of the 4 Ps, like price. And so this is the analysis of cost savings. Basically, if you are anywhere in the ballpark, I just gave it to you. I was just looking for your process and how you look through things. But the big issue is not only is it the chemistry that you save money on, but you also have to look at the big cost savings is actually in the disposal because you have to do it less frequently. In terms of the situation, a lot of you just wrote 2 or 3 things, and there were like 6 or 8 things in that case that talked about why they're failing. But what they revolved around was adoption. Why aren't they adopting this product? And so this also builds on the ideas in this course. Go back to the adoption lecture. Why do people adopt things? And so this case is we have a brand new technology. That's the crux of all this is. We have this brand new technology. Why should I change for it? And also, their salespeople just aren't changed in it. What channels should they be using? Should they be doing it direct? Should they be doing it through distributors? And also, information versus logistics. That you're selling a lot of packets, so you have logistics issues, but it's a brand new product, so you have information issues. The user environment. How well do you understand the customer? And this is a fairly simple question. You only need to write a couple of sentences, but what it comes down to is smaller integrators are basically machine shops and the people who make the call. And this is when you're selling. You need to know who it is you're going to target. And the person you're going to target are the owners of the shops. They make the decisions on how people buy things or not buy things. Price, position, and channel sales. I expected analysis. And a lot of you just wrote a couple of sentences for each, and that's not enough. This is a case. And I said it in the last lecture, that in a case I expect detail. For price, why that price and what are you going to do with the money? Because that justifies what a price is. Position, some of you still don't know what position is. Position is a place you take in the mind. And so this product, like when you think of Toyota, if you remember those commercials that you took, Toyota is all about reliability. Now, Dos Equis actually was trying to change its brand. Instead of just being this cheap beer, they wanted to be a sophisticated beer. That if you view them as being sophisticated, what do you think you can do with price? Yeah, charge more. And this is what I mean by these three things all work together. Your 4 P's should complement and reinforce each other. That's what a good marketing campaign is about. And so in terms of position, what are you taking? And also in terms of channels, what are the right channels to use? Should I just, maybe what I need to, and that's the thing, if you are incentivizing the distributors, then the distributors actually are the ones who have the relationship with the customer. They know these machine shop guys. And if you think about what they do, they come in, they probably trade small talk and things like that. They have a connection. Finally, should I go or no go? Here's the thing. If you just want to fix the mechanics, and a lot of you tend to go tactical, and this is asking you about strategy. All you did was give me tactics, like, well, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. But why are you doing it? Again, everything I'm looking for is about justification. And that's the thing about your final project paper. You're going to make suggestions, and then you've got to make an argument. Why am I making these suggestions? And that requires analysis. That requires what data you can pull, or examples of how other people have done it. But in this case, if you stick with just fixing things like education and stuff like that, this product will still fail. And the reason why is, with any product or anything else, what do we go back to? The value proposition. What is the value proposition of this? Well, it's a cost savings. Here's the thing, and this goes into the chasm. Why do you hit a chasm? And part of it is your early adopters, those, cult leaders and stuff like that, they're willing to take risks. But then when you reach the next stage, those people aren't willing to take risks for new technology. So what's the natural thing they do? They sit it out. And so if they sit it out, they're just going to wait for someone else, no matter how much money it is. Because think about it. If the stuff is bad, you've